Welcome back, guys. Today we are working on the 2002 Toyota Tundra. We are going to be replacing the slave clutch cylinder. The clutch fluid is really gray, dark, murky, and a lot of times what happens is when the internal seals go in the slave cylinder, it'll turn that oil super dark and really just not healthy looking, because that inside cylinder has broken down. So that's what we're going to be doing today. I'm going to run to the store right now, grab the part. I'll see you back in a bit. Alright, we made it back home. Because I have my truck that I'm working on in the garage, I'm gonna do this outside. Should be pretty easy. Here's the fluid. And I don't know if you can really see that, but it is just super black. Black fluid, and it's just not right. I think if I remember correctly, those fittings are a 10 millimeter. I believe they're a 10 millimeter for the hose itself. I'm not sure about what holds the slave cylinder on though. And we've got this just sitting in here. Hopefully later today I can get working on that a little more. But before you start trying to empty the fluid out, I would open the cap for the clutch fluid. And if you read on the top of this, the fluid you put in is .3 brake fluid. So this is a 10 millimeter, and we will take that off. Then you also have a 12 millimeter, two 12 millimeters right here, and then this whole unit should come off. So you also have a 12 right here. I probably will take off just so I can move this hose around a little more. So I'm going to do that and I'll check back with you. So this bottom fitting here, the 10 mil, I couldn't get a good angle and it felt like it was stripping possibly. So I went ahead and took the top one off up here. And I'm gonna just take out the whole assembly. So I'm gonna have to take off this 12 millimeter right here, and then the line will be free, and then I'll take off those two 12 millimeters holding the slave cylinder on there. Okay, it's off. This is what it looks like off. I will be able to get a better grip on this now. I couldn't get that one off, and I didn't want to strip out the line. So this is the new one right here. I have it on the vise here. I'm gonna try to break this free, but it is not wanting to budge at all. So I don't like using this method, but at this point it probably is the only method that will work. So I did break it loose with those, and then hopefully I can use this the rest of the way. But I'm not crazy about using that method, but sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. So Alright, we should have that on there close enough, and I can, you know, bend the hose a little bit, but let's go ahead and install this back in the vehicle. I've got a tiny bit of grease on my finger. I'm just gonna stick a little bit right in here where the slave makes contact. Alright, so we've got everything hooked up. The 12 millimeters are back on, and the hose is all back. Alright guys, I ended up grabbing a new master cylinder too, because I wasn't sure really which one was bad, and I figured for the price, this is for a family member of mine, so it just made more sense to do both, regardless of which one was bad. It could have been the master cylinder that was bad. So I'm changing the slave and master at the same time. So there is 2 bolts. They're 12 millimeters in right back here. You'll see them. You got to take those out. And there is up in here, you'll see you've got to take this little clip out, and then there is this as well. Looks like that's kind of worn, but don't have a new one of these. I don't think the new one comes with it, but it might. But anyways, so that's what you got to do, and take off these 2 bolts last after you unhook that. So I'm taking off these last bolts. There's also a 10 millimeter, the clutch line. All right, here's the old one off. If you look in here, it is just filthy. Alright, if you notice, I don't know too much about these, but if you look, you can see like there's not much play in here. And if you look at the old one, like there's play for days. So I think this one had some kind of leak and it wasn't springing back like it should. Alright, we got the new master cylinder installed. I do need to connect the hydraulic line, but before I do that, I'm going to connect it to the pedal inside here. So reconnect it to the clutch pedal. You may have to adjust it, just beware of that. Alright guys, I just finished putting the master cylinder and bleeding the lines. I couldn't record bleeding the lines, but I'll tell you exactly what I did, and it worked just fine. As I had my wife push the pedal all the way to the floor, I was underneath the vehicle, and when she pushed down, then I would crack that bleeder valve, and I had a plastic or a rubber hose onto that into a pan. Anyways, when she would do that, she'd push down, then I would tighten it back up, she'd pull the pedal back, and then just repeat. And I ended up repeating until you know, there was no air bubbles coming out, and I would periodically check the reservoir to make sure that there was no, you know, if you run out in the wet reservoir, you're gonna suck air bubbles back up through. So I know there's a couple different options of you know, bleeding the hydraulic lines, but that's the process I used, and it worked just fine. So that is it for today. I hope this video helped you. If you have any questions, please comment down below, but that is it. I'm out.